Welcome back. How would I start investing in real estate right now in 2024? Here it is, March 2nd, I think, March 2nd of 2024. I know a lot of people have New Year's resolutions. January 1st comes around. I'm going to get in real estate. I'm going to have passive income. I'm going to quit my job. I'm going to do this, whatever it is, right? If it's money related, if your goal to get into real estate and you haven't done it yet, here's exactly how I would do it. Two approaches. So there's two different ways you can go about this. Well, there's a lot of ways, but beginner friendly ways to get into real estate today. First, if you hate your job and you're about to quit, this is the path you should take. You need to join every Facebook group in your area for real estate investors. So, here it's Portland, real estate investors, PDX real estate investors, REI Portland, real estate investor Portland, any combination of those, and then put in your city or your town and find like-minded people. So if you hate your job, you can't stand it anymore, if it's not going to make you enough money to get into real estate, if you're not going to be able to buy something this year because you're not making enough, my suggestion would be to get around a bunch of like-minded people, start going to these groups, start learning from people, and then I would become a real estate wholesaler. That's what I would do. If you wanted to get in real estate, and your job does not provide you the way to do it. If you can't do it through your job, switch to becoming a real estate wholesaler. It doesn't require any special knowledge or anything like that. And the reason why I say the first step is to get around like-minded people, because you're going to run into people who are already wholesaling. You're going to run into people who are fix and flippers, people who have money, who have contractors, who are experts at comping properties and figuring out what it's going to take to buy it, what it's going to take to fix it up, what it's going to take to sell it, and making a profit doing it. You're going to run into everything that you need, and just talk to these people. Take them out to coffee, whatever it is. Figure out what they are doing. For the wholesalers, what are they doing? What are they doing that's working? Are they running Google ads? Okay, that's going to cost you money. Don't know if you want to start doing that. Are they, are they door knocking? Are they cold calling? Are they leaving postcards? If they're calling and door knocking, what list are they calling? Are they doing water shutoffs, code violations, probates, foreclosures, notice of default? Like, what list are they calling and knocking? And if they're calling, these lists, how are they getting the phone numbers? Are they going to fastpeoplesearch.com? Are they going to Batch Leads? Are they going to Versium? Like, where are they getting their data from, right? Door knocking, you need a car, a bicycle, whatever, and you just go knock on the door and just say, hey, my name is Jeff, and I saw your house, and I wanted to see if you might be interested in selling. And 99% of the time, they're going to tell you, no, I'm not interested. Go kick rocks. And then you could say something, oh yeah, no, I totally understand. I wouldn't want to sell my house either. You obviously live here for a reason. But the reason why I ask you specifically and not any of your neighbors is because I saw that you're behind on a little bit of payments. I saw that you're 4 or 5 years behind in taxes, or 1 year. I saw that, it looks like, your house, and you got to say this tactfully, right? Your house needs a little bit of work. Would you be willing to just sell it as is and go to Tahiti or go to Hawaii, right? Or, hey, I noticed that, the water's been shut off. Or another good one, tired landlords. Like, hey, I see that you own 10 different properties in this town. Would you be willing to sell any of them? Whatever, right? So there's all kinds of lists, all kinds of door knocking, phone calls you can do. You can run Google ads, you can run Facebook ads, you can put ads on Craigslist or Facebook and say, hey, are you a tired landlord? Hey, does your place need work and you want to just sell and get out of it? Or hey, did you just go through a divorce and just want to sell your house now, right? You can post those ads all over the place. So there's all kinds of different ways that you can go about it, but I would say start with being a real estate wholesaler. Talk to other wholesalers in the community that you're considering working, and figure out what's working for them. Next, to figure out if it's going to be a deal or not, right? You want to start hanging out with fix and flippers and say, hey, what's your buy box? If I was to bring you something, what would you want to buy? What's the price point? What, how many beds and baths? What's the square footage? What's the location? What things will you not buy? Manufactured homes in a park, things with foundation issues, things with like meth houses. What things will you buy? What things won't you buy? What areas, what price points? Start asking them all these questions. And I know I'm saying a lot of things fast because I'm going through 2 different ways to get into real estate. Once you figure those things out, go find a deal. And if you find a deal that's good enough, go to another wholesaler, or preferably go to a fix and flipper and say, hey, I have this contract. Again, this could be a whole nother thing, but get a contract. Get a contract from a wholesaler, get it from a fix and flipper, pay an attorney, whatever it is you want to do, but just get a cash contract. It should be 2 pages max. And it always says, and right here, you guys should pay me for this. It should say, whoever you are agrees to buy and or assign this contract. The assignment is where you make your money. You have to put that in the contract. If you don't do it, you're going to run into all kinds of problems, right? So and or assign. Very important. So anyways, you go do that. You talk to these investors and say, hey, I'll sell this to you for X amount of dollars. Or if you don't want the money, tell them, I would like to JV with you. I would like to joint venture. I have the deal. You have the money. Let's work together. So instead of taking an assignment of $5, $10, $15, $20,000, work with them and say, hey, I'll give this to you at cost. Show me how to do it. Show me what you're doing with these renovations. Build that relationship with these people and say, hey, I want to work with you. I want to learn, right? Learn what they're doing, learn the contractors, what they fix, what they don't fix. Why do you think this is a good price? Why is it, why do you think it's going to sell for this? What's the after repair value? What does that mean? Bring a deal to them and learn from them. Trust me, if you bring a deal to somebody, they will figure it out and they should be happy to teach you what they know. If not, take it somewhere else. If they say, no, I just want to pay you $5 or $10,000, you could do that if you just want the money, or if you want to, learn from them, say, no, I really just want to learn from you. And then yes, you can pay me after you sell the property. But anyways, so that's the first way to get into real estate. And if you do that enough times, you may actually be able to buy a property for yourself that's beat up, that needs a lot of work, and you can go partner with another investor and do this. Instead of fixing it up and selling it to somebody, you could fix it up and do a DSCR loan, debt service coverage ratio. And I know that sounds super boring. Go Google it. It's very important. But this is a way for somebody like you who has no credit history, no job history, no consistent income. This is an investor loan where you can actually cash out the profit, right? And buy the property. You can go live in it. It could be your home. And I think you may not want to tell them that. Tell them it's going to be a rental or something like that, but you can rent it from your own business, right? Whatever. If you want it to be your house or a rental, whatever. But it's called a debt service coverage ratio loan. Partner with an investor. They'll help you fix it up. And then you do a DSCR loan. You pay them their money. And then you get to stay in the home. Yes, you're going to have to pay a mortgage and all that stuff. Will the interest rate be higher? Yes, it will. But you got a property below market value that you were able to fix up for yourself and that you learned throughout the whole process, working with another investor. You got them paid. You get to keep the house. It sounds like a win-win, right? And yes, that can be done within a year's period of time. If you really grind, you're finding deals, you're bird dogging for people. That's another thing, bird dogging in real estate, basically being a wholesaler, finding deals for people. That is probably the quickest and easiest way for you to get your own house or to make money from real estate. Number 2, perfect. I timed it perfectly at like the 10-minute mark. So I was about 10 minutes of the first way. So that's if you hate your job and it's not going to give you enough money to go get into real estate. Number 2 is to do things exactly like I did it, the very secure way, the traditional way, the conventional way that everybody does it, is to get yourself a W-2 job. Even if you hate it. I hated my W-2 job. I really did. And I wanted to leave every single day. It was a call center gig where I was selling stuff. I hated it. But it made me enough money to qualify through traditional means to buy a property. So what did I have to do? Well, I had to have good credit. And I was building that. As soon as I knew I wanted to get into real estate, I immediately started building my credit. And I'll make a video about how I did it specifically. There's a bunch of YouTube videos about that. I'll give you a pro tip real quick. Find an authorized user. Become an authorized user on somebody else's credit card. That will skyrocket. I mean, to the moon. It will skyrocket your stuff, right? 20, 30, 50 points. Again, it's got to be a good person that has good credit, right? They got to have amazing credit, never missed a payment. They have to have credit for 10, 15, 20 years, all this stuff. But if you become an authorized user on one of their cards, your credit is going to blow past everybody quickly. Trust me. Anyways, on that tangent, I'll make a video about that later. Credit's really important. I started building that. I started saving up money. All your buddies that like, hey, I'm going to the club, I'm buying cigars, we're gonna go rent a yacht, go to the coast, go to the beach, go to the villas in New Mexico or whatever, Mexico, Tahiti, vacations, clubs, getting bottle service. None of that stuff. You can't do any of that stuff. You got to save up. I mean, hey, if you're making $500,000 a year, okay. You can do that. I wasn't making $500,000 a year, so I had to save my money. But credit, save money. The next thing you need to do is you need to be at that same job, even if you hate it, especially if you hate it, for at least 1 year. Now, technically, you don't have to be at that same job for a year. You just have to be in the same industry for 2 years, right? That's the technical thing, right? You don't want to go from a Subway sandwich maker into a sales job, and try to get a loan the next month. It's not going to happen. Not going to work. So you have to be in an industry that makes you enough money to afford the property. And if you're working at Subway right now or fast food, nothing against Subway. I love Subway, right? But if you're at a career that's not going to make enough money for you, you might consider, going the first route, going into real estate, being a wholesaler, doing it that way. Really, really difficult. But it is very possible. But if your job does allow you to make enough money, stick it out, do the traditional way. Now, what I would recommend is that first thing I just told you guys, go find one of those people. Go find a wholesaler. Go find an investor and buy a property off market. Yes, you can do this with a real estate agent. Totally up to you, right? I understand that you want a trained professional, but again, 95% of real estate investors probably don't have a real estate investor mindset. So they're not investors, right? So they can't really help you be an investor. If you don't want to be a real estate investor and you just want to buy a house, if you're just trying to get into real estate because you like the appreciation, you hate paying a landlord, all that stuff, that's fine too. You can buy it on market. You don't need to get an amazing deal. You can just buy a property and wait. Over time, it'll be worth more. Statistically speaking, that's how real estate goes. However, if you want to be an investor, I would do what the first person did, right? Don't quit your job. But go to these groups, go on Facebook, go on, LinkedIn, Twitter, whatever, and go find people who are investors and learn from them. Go to Bigger Pockets, watch YouTube videos. I mean, you're watching me, right? So you're probably learning stuff already. That's great. That's exactly what you want to do. You want to start learning. That way, when you see a deal, You know what you're looking at. That way you're like, hey, that's a deal and I want that one. And here's the thing. My first property was on market, retail price, realtors and everything, right? I made a terrible purchase. By all my investor knowledge, that was a terrible deal. I should not have done that. However, I'm positive cash flow every month. I have paid down the debt I haven't. The renters have paid like $50,000 of that note. I've never made a full mortgage payment in my life, and I'm 31, and I have 3 properties. I've never paid a mortgage payment in full in my life. So these renters have paid $50,000 of my debt off for me, and now it's worth $200,000 more. Hey, the worst deal I could possibly buy in 2019 on market with a realtor, the exact price that the sellers wanted. Now it's worth $200,000 more. That's great. But if you're looking to get a deal, there is wholesaling companies, there's wholesaling individuals that, like wholesale, right? Costco, WinCo, you go where things are cheap, like cheap gas, right? They get it at a discount, so they pass the savings on to you. So you find a wholesaler who's willing to sell real estate to you at a wholesale price. Yes, they're going to make some money. It's cheaper than anything you'd be able to get on the market. And what you would do, some of these properties will do traditional financing. Some of them will. Some of the properties are good enough for traditional financing. Most of them are probably not. They're probably full of crap. They probably need a new roof. There's probably water damage. There's probably needs new floors, needs new paint, whatever, right? If you're willing to do that work, or not, if you're willing to pay people to do that work, whatever it is, right? If you just want to get a discount on the property and you're willing to pay if you can't do any of the work yourself, if you can't paint a wall, if you can't change an outlet, if you can't change a light bulb, if you can't do any of that and you're wanting to pay somebody to do all that stuff, that's fine too, right? But if you can learn, it'll save you money. But here's the thing. Buy the property at a discount, and there's 2 ways you can do it: with conventional financing like I did, or you can use a 203K loan. Now, this is also a traditional loan. It is. And I'm not going to pretend to be the expert on it, right? Reach out to a local lender and say, have you done any 203K loans or 203B? Not exactly sure what the difference is, one of them, whatever. But essentially what it is it allows regular people like me and you to go buy crappy properties, and they will give you not only the money to buy it, but the money to fix it up too. So you can do that, conventional, or, and this is a little bit more complicated, I probably need to make a separate video about it, but you can go get what is called hard money. And it's not because it's like physically hard. It's not like a precious metal. It is, it's private capital. So basically, where do all of the fix and flippers get their money? Well, some of them may be using their own cash, these cash offers, but what they're really saying 90% of the time is they're using someone else's cash. So it is a cash offer, but it's not their cash. So you can do this too. You can go get a hard money loan or a private money loan. Just Google, right? Google that, talk to the wholesalers, talk to the investors. And yes, you're a newbie who has never done a deal before. They are going to charge you a lot of money. They're going to charge you probably, 2, even 3 points, which is a percentage of the loan you're taking from them. And they're going to charge you a high interest rate, 10, 12, 15%. But you get a discounted property that you get to fix up exactly the way you want it, or pay people to. And then once that process is done, then you can go get a traditional loan because you got that job, right? You got the job. You can qualify for a traditional loan, and you can use the traditional loan to pay back the private money or hard money investors. So I know that's really complicated. I said a lot of stuff, right? I gave you 2 completely different ways to get into real estate in 2024, but that is exactly how I would do it starting today. Depending if you like your job and it pays you enough money, or it doesn't pay you enough money and you hate your job, well, even if you hate your job like I did, it still paid me enough. So I sucked it up and I just did it. But those are probably the two ways that you can get started immediately, right? Is you can go find off-market deals for yourself or for investors. You can make money. You can be a part of the deal. You can use a hard money loan. And hey, hey, if you hate your job and you're at a fast food place and you find an amazing deal, you can use hard money too, right? You can do it too. But the problem is that if you hate your job, you probably don't have a bunch of money. I would say it's very risky to go buy a property. You don't know very much about real estate. You can't do any of the work yourself. And the problem is you can go get the hard money loan, and then you can also refi with remember what I was saying before, the debt service coverage ratio loan. You can refi from hard money either using traditional lending or DSCR. But it's just really risky, right? Like if you don't have a solid job, right? If you don't have a solid place of where your money's coming from, it's just going to be really hard for you to get into real estate. So make some money, do some wholesaling, JV with some other investors, learn the ropes so you know what you're doing. The last thing I would ever advocate, is to buy a house and not have any way to make the payment, because any way that you do it, whether it's other people's money, traditional loan, hard money loan, seller financing, you have somebody you owe money to. You're going to have to pay that back. And if you don't have a job or a source of income like wholesaling or fixing and flipping, if you don't have money coming in, do not buy a house, because you will lose it in foreclosure. Somebody will take it from you because you can't make the payments. So please don't do that to yourself. It'll destroy your credit, destroy your life. Don't do it. But those are the two ways I would start doing real estate right now, 2024.